Community-based law enforcement designed to improve intelligence gathering, strengthen rapid response, and close the gap created by centralized policing. But the threat is no longer just physical. Criminal networks are increasing, weaponizing disinformation, using fake news and manipulated videos on social media to create panic, inflame ethnic tensions, and weaken public trust in security infrastructure. Security experts warn that without a trusted flow of accurate information, coordinated security operations become harder and communities become more vulnerable. For any model of state police to succeed, Nigeria must build independent oversight structures, enforce mandatory misconduct reporting, and ensure clear lines of accountability so the reform does not repeat past institutional failures. Now, joining me in the studio is Daniel Bwala. He's a special advisor to the President on policy communication. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Bwala.
Thank you for having me. Good evening.
So, the policy of security, the federal government's policy, right now it looks as if the president, I mean, we just had a consultant to the Senate president here talking to us about what the Senate is doing as regards state policing or security. But the president made an appeal to the National Assembly, so to speak, not a directive, to say review the laws quickly.
Correct.
But this is not the first time that has happened, where the National Assembly has gone ahead to do this and they failed to get an assent to the law. So what will be the difference this time?
The difference is that this is an idea whose time has come. You know, before now, I know there were skirmishes of insecurity that occasioned the call for state police, but the situation at the time was not that bad enough to call for these state police. But with the recent development, I believe that it is clear to everyone, as you can see, everyday engagement on social media, the yearning for a lasting solution to the problems that is facing us right in the face. So I believe now, and as you can see, most lawmakers that I have heard are calling for that. Governors in states are calling for them. Civil populates are calling for that. Non-governmental organizations are saying the time has come for it. And when you find the executive and the legislative branch of government both agreeing on that point, then you know it's an idea whose time has come.
The matter of when the law is even passed, or using information that is even passed on,
right.
The use of information, when you say citizens give information, is the executive using this information as it should be?
Yes.
Or do we have saboteurs in the midst of the executive that are not helping at all?
So depending on the quality of the information and the nature of the information. So for example, if the information is processed as intelligence, definitely it will go to the relevant agencies of government. And if it falls within the purview of the intelligence platform, then you know they are not about exposure, they are not about public announcement, they are also not about public spectacle on how they manage that information. It will be processed in many ways. In fact, it can lead to arrest without the Nigerian people knowing. And then if it is information that is purely based on political consideration and it goes to the executive branch of government, then of course, you know, there will be this constant updating of the masses about how that information is being treated. If it's an information that relates to the legislative branch of government, then it goes to the National Assembly, and then you see how they process it. So how information is used, it depends largely on not just the nature of the information, but also the quality and the sensitivity of that information.
So, but when information comes out from the citizens, because right now the government has even reached out to the citizens to give information.
Right.
When information comes out from the citizens, whether intelligence or politically based, the use of that information will determine whether the citizens will bring forth more information or not. Would you 100%. Agree then that the government or the executive hasn't used the citizens' information as could use it to encourage the citizens to bring forth more information?
We have always been using information accurately. If you have seen, that's why I say depending on the nature of the information.
So, but I asked that question to go here. How is it then that we have misinformation if you say you've been using information accurately or correctly?
So misinformation usually comes from two different sectors. One from the opponent, because their job is to demarcate the government, although they are not managing it well because they don't even know the thin line between national security and all that. But then the other disinformation is participation of citizens in the politics and the governance of the country. So for example, if you look at the social media, otherwise called the new media, has become the gift and the curse. The gift in the sense that it has connected everybody into one realm. The curse is that it has also created a lot of headaches. It has caused the destruction of people and cities because the information is conveyed wrongly or falsely. That's why you have misinformation or disinformation. When it is misinformation, there is a bit of sympathy, because it then means that the person does not have either the capacity or has obtained the information wrongly. But when it is disinformation, then it is done deliberately with the intent that people be misled. If you have seen the new media and the manipulation of algorithm, you know that social media can even be used to change the regime. You see the Arab Spring. It was on social media. So we learned lately that the algorithm can be manipulated, that a conversation in a certain demographic can be vitriolic, can be full of hate in order to inflame passion. That is why the citizens of Nigeria who are very engaging when it comes to communication and information, majority of them have come to that point where they share information that are not verified. They share information that you know right on the face value it is wrong. Have you not seen lately the videos of incidents that occurred 10 years ago, and somebody pushing it and is saying it's happening right now? We have seen cases of people that fuel pipeline explosion. Somebody put it and they say the bandit just killed people now.
But is that not a gap created by the government and its infrastructure not communicating to the people what ought to be? Information that ought to go out.
No, so I can tell you that because this is my industry, it's my lane when it comes to communication. In the last 2 months, I can tell you I hardly have slept for more than 3 hours. All over the world, local and international. In fact, from tomorrow, I'll also commence the media tour in the southern Nigeria. We're going to Lagos. I'm going to be there till Saturday. What are we doing? Communicating the programs of government, explaining to the people some of the things the government is doing, and then answering questions on what the people demand from government. This is what, since I have been appointed, I've been doing. So, and then I have many of my colleagues who are equally doing the same. You then spread the tentacles or the cobwebs or the webs, and then you see that even ministers and agency heads of the federation are engaged. So what other information are you talking about? Now, when we talk of disinformation is not because there is no information.
Mr. Bwala, as we need to go.
Right.
But quickly, when you talk about information again going out, I come back again to the fact that government is not communicating as and when government should. For instance, a story came out yesterday about naming those who are sponsors of insurgency. And it turns out that information came from last year.
No, so that's where you miss it. I was on air yesterday on TVC, and I gave that information that the government got to. Then people now went back to previous information related to that, and they found it out. So there are two different things.
No, those names that were mentioned yesterday, when did they come out? This year or last year?
No, I never mentioned name has been released. So I said very soon, with the measures that the president is taking and the government is taking, adopting this zero tolerance, that very soon, when investigations are conducted, we will know terrorists and those who finance them. I never mentioned any list, any people. So people went back to the past and then brought out names.
So when are we going to get the names?
Could it be these people?
When will we get the names? Any timeline?
No, when something has to do with investigation. Have you ever seen any investigation that has a timeline? Have you ever seen that?
Daniel Bwala, any timeline?
There can never be timeline on. There can never be timeline on an ongoing investigation, but there would always be timeline on a concluded investigation.
Thank you very much. Mr. Daniel Bwala is a special advisor to the President on Communication and Policy. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you as always. I'm good to see you. I'm good to see this place.
Thank you. We hope to see you again soon.
Anytime.
Well.